Hello students, welcome to our series of biology lessons. Our topic is evolution. Have you ever heard or think about the origin of the world, the origin of life, as well as the origin of all living organisms? Please stay right here and be attentive because that is our focus in this lesson. My name is Nashiat Jaban Salum. When we say evolution, we mean the gradual development of organisms from simple form to more complex forms over a long duration of time. Evolution is marked by emergence of new species from pre-existing species and the disappearance of some species. The species that disappear are said to become extinct. The origin and diversity of life is based on the contribution of theologists, philosophers, and scientists. Early scientists put forward theories which suggested that life originated from non-living matter. However, changes in climatic conditions, habitats, and complexity of living organisms contradicts these suggestions. Why we should study evolution? We study evolution because it helps to understand the biological forces that cause organisms to develop from simple to more complex organisms to the extent of new species emerging. It helps to know how different organisms relate. In studying evolution, there are different theories that explain the origin of the life. These theories are theory of special creation, theory of fixed status, and catastrophism, theory of spontaneous generation, and theory of Cosmozoan Theory. Let us explain one by one. The first theory is the theory of special creation. According to this theory, life was non-existent before a particular time. Then the supreme being, supernatural power, created all living things, and there was life on earth from then henceforth. This theory proposes that differences and similarities between organisms are as a result of how the organisms were created. Major religions like Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism have theories that support special creation. The theory of fixed status and catastrophism was put forth by Cuvier to support the religious point of view. According to Cuvier, fossils were brought about by catastrophes such as floods, as outlined in the Holy Bible. During the floods, the earth's surface was deformed and many creatures were killed and covered by a mass of land. According to this theory, about 13.7 billion years ago, a cosmic explosion occurred and the universe has since been expanding and cooling. Before the explosion, the earth was very compact, dense, and hot. The formation of the universe created conditions like high ultraviolet radiation and high temperatures. The gaseous composition was different from today's. The universe cooled and protons combined with electrons to form hydrogen atoms, which were the first atoms to be formed. Hydrogen combined chemically with other elements to form compounds such as water. Hydrogen is present in almost all organic compounds. This theory was advanced by Alexander Oparin in 1923. He stated that in the beginning, the atmosphere contained ammonia, carbon dioxide, helium, hydrogen, and methane, but lacked oxygen. The compound was a result of high temperature, ultraviolet radiation, and electrical discharge that were plentiful after cosmic explosion. The compounds were dissolving in rainwater to form a mixture of organic compound in water that accumulated in the water bodies on the Earth's surface. The simple compounds combined to form complex substances. Using energy from the high temperature and ultraviolet rays, Later polymers such as proteins, lipids, and carbohydrates were formed. The first single-celled organisms arose from these polymers. The formation of ribonucleic acid, RNA, a self-replicating molecule, was a prerequisite to life, as the form could replicate itself. Living organisms could reproduce themselves. The first life forms were heterotrophic, using the compound in the nutrient broth as food. The organism reproduced by budding. Another theory is the theory of spontaneous generation. This theory explained by Aristotle. Aristotle advanced the theory of spontaneous generation, and it dates back to the 4th century. The theory was applied up to the 19th century, but it is no longer applied. The scientists believe that simple organisms like worms and frogs could arise from mud, dust, or rotten food. That means life can originate from non-living matter. Example, maggots can arise from rotten meat. The last theory is Cosmozoan Theory. This theory states that life on Earth originated from elsewhere. In 18th century, scientists questioned this steady state and Cosmozoan theories due to the presence of fossils and emergence of new species. After looking on the theories of evolution, let us now look on evidences that support evolution. Two scientists, Darwin and Lamarck, have come up with different evidences which support evolution. To start, let's see Darwin. He was an English naturalist. He based his theory on observation made during a 5-year geographical study. During his study, he came up with the following observation. First, every generation of organisms have more offspring than parents. However, the number of adult organisms remains generally stable from generation to generation. Therefore, is a struggle for existence that causes many offspring to die before becoming adults. Second, there are many variations in a species. Variations are passed from parents to their offspring. Advantageous variations enable survival in the environment. Organisms with disadvantageous variation die. This is called survival of the fittest. Offspring with favorable variation grow into adults and reproduce. Therefore, favorable variations accumulated in the species, enabling adaptation to the environment. This gives rise to a new species. A change in the environmental conditions favors other characteristics of the organisms. The effect of these changes on the organisms is that other features become more prominent than before, resulting in evolution. Let's see merits of Darwin theory. First, the theory enables scientists to carry further studies, leading to new discoveries that suggest the origin of life. Second, helps scientists to understand about drug resistance and evolution of germs like bacteria and viruses, leading to new strains. And third is it enables further research to find cure for overseas of germs, bacteria, and viruses. The shortcoming of this Darwin theory is he failed to explain how variations in populations arose and how it maintained from one generation to the next. Apart from Darwin, there is another scientist who developed a theory of evolution. This scientist is known as Lamarck. Lamarck developed an alternative theory at the beginning of the 19th century. His theory centered on two ideas. First idea is the law of use and disuse, and second idea is the law of inheritance of acquired characteristics. In law of use and disuse, he stipulates that the organ which is used more and more by an organism becomes bigger and stronger, and one that is not used disappears eventually. He used the law of use and disuse, which explains that organisms enhanced certain abilities by exercising them and lost other abilities through disuse. Example, the ancestors of the present-day long-necked giraffe. These early giraffes fed on short plants. When the short plants became scarce, the giraffe had to stretch their necks to feed on taller plants. Thus, their necks became longer. The longer necks were passed on to their offspring. Hence, after a long time, giraffes developed the long necks they have today. His theory was based on inheritance of acquired characteristics. The offspring then adapt further, advancing evolution of the species. Let us now see the advantages of Lamarck theory. Lamarck theory led to further studies on evolution of species. It gave rise to discovery of genes and genetics, which is now widely used in many fields of biology. Upon realization of his theory, Lamarck decided to study about invertebrates, which made great contribution in development of zoology. Scientists use the following study techniques to study evolution. First, comparative anatomy. Comparative anatomy is the study of biological structures in different organisms. The scientists look at structures that are similar in different organisms or species. Example, limbs of vertebrates such as human beings, goats, and wings of birds are used for different purposes, but they have a basic design structure. This is known as homologous structure. Example, forelimbs of humans are for manipulation, forelimbs of birds' wings are for flight, and forelimbs of goat are for walking. This shows that all these animals are from common ancestors. Analogous structures are the ones which look different, but they perform similar functions. Example, insect, birds, and birds all have wings used for flight, but their wings have different structural organization. Second is fossil records. Fossils are remains of organisms that lived in the past, preserved naturally in rocks or on ice. The study of fossils is known as paleontology. When fossils are dated, scientists can estimate the age of that organism. Method used by scientists to know the age of fossils is carbon dating using isotope of carbon-14. Third is embryology. In comparative embryology, embryos of different vertebrates at early stages are compared and they are seen to have resemblances. Species that show similar embryonic development are assumed to be closely related, although the adult may be quite different. Natural selection in action. Nature led to the selection of a genetic combination that resulted in a more frequent melanic variety compared to the non-melanic variety. Before the Industrial Revolution in Europe, the white variety of moth was more prevalent. Industrialization in Europe in the 18th century polluted the environment. Burning of coal released a lot of soot and smoke. These pollutants coated tree trunks, killing the lichens and grew on the tree trunks. The color of the tree trunks became black. This camouflaged the dark melanin form of the peppered moth. The predators of the moth did not feed on many dark moths because they were not very visible. And the last is vestigial organs. These are structures which have been greatly reduced and ceased to be functional. Presence of vestigial organs is an indication that they existed in ancestral forms, but as a result of evolution, such structures have been so much reduced to the extent of losing or greatly changing their original function. Examples of vestigial structures are wings of flightless birds, such as ostriches and penguins. My dear students, these are all you need to know about evolution. Thank you for watching and goodbye.